Hey everybody, this is Cindy over at Paper Old and New. Welcome to my channel. I hope that you enjoy this video, and we are going to be making covers out of packaging. So as you can see, this is a bubble envelope. You see that? And I've cut it down. And for some of them, I decided to give them spines. So this is actually the spine of a book that I took apart. And I just took the spine and I glued it in here and cut it to fit the ends. Now it's a little jagged, but I'm figuring when I cover the spine and take care of all of the mess, I will be able to cover that up and it won't be that big of a deal. So we have this kind of packaging. This, as you can see, is Amazon packaging. This is one of those bubble mailers that they send stuff in. I cut it down to be a traveler style notebook. Well, let me give you some measurements. So we have, this one is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. This one is about 9.5, 9 3/4 tall by about 5.5. Yeah, a little over 5.5. So it's kind of an odd shape or an odd height. The spine I gave it is 1 1/4 inches. Like I said, this spine I did not make, so I did not create the width of it. It is a spine from a book that I already had. And it looks like I didn't do a very good job of centering it. So the back and the front are not exactly even. I might have to cut them. I might have to trim that before we go doing anything else. So let's look at measuring to make sure I have my back and front the same width. So that one's a little under 5 3/4, and this one is a little over 5.5. It's about an, oh wait, maybe not. They might be about the same actually. I guess it's just how you hold it. But if I straighten that spine up, it looks like it's over a little. I want it, the reason I'm futzing with it is because I want it to be even before I go covering it, because once it's covered, I don't want to have to mess with fixing edges. Okay. The rest of it, it's soft. I mean, we can fix it in the, okay, so we have that one. And then I have one that is the paper. So I'm sure we've all gotten stuff from Amazon in these paper bags. Okay, as you can see, I've trimmed this one up. I actually took measurements on this one. It's 9 inches tall by 6.5 wide. I could trim it, but I think I'm going to keep it. And then I'm going to cover this one with paper, and we're going to cover these two with cloth. So let's start. You'll have to excuse the shrieking. Sorry about that. My daughter was shrieking, and I had to find out what was going on. Okay, so this, normally we would turn it this way, but I think I have this cut to go this way. Right? So I have lots of room for fold over, which I want, because I want to be able to fold it over, and then I'm going to stitch around, not through this spine. This spine is a really, really thick chipboard. I think I'll break every needle I own trying to go through that. Fabric is sort of like the glue seeps through it kind of a thing. So we are going to lay this down on here. It also has it also does the lovely job of flattening this out for me. Sorry, I'm trying to move things out of my way. You guys know how this goes, right? Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put a bunch of glue down the outside of the spine here. Move my pin. And we'll try and center the spine up first. Like I said, I'm going to stitch this, so I'm not overly concerned with the fabric sticking to the plastic. I just really, really, really want it to grip good so that when I go upstairs to mess with it, it's not sliding all over the place and moving on me. And I suppose I've seen some people use a glue stick for this just to like hold it down long enough to get to their sewing machine. Okay. Now I am going to work around the plastic. I actually have not had, I don't know what these plastic bags that Amazon, I know they're big into recycling and all that sort of thing. I don't know what these plastic bags that they use are made out of, but I have glued things to them before, and it actually tends to hold pretty good. I mean, surprisingly enough, whatever this plastic is, seems to accept glue being stuck to it. So that's kind of nice when you're trying to do all of this. Sorry, it also seems to take the print off of the, that's what I'm getting a bunch of blue on me, and it's from the, here lately I've been doing a lot of projects that have been using up a ton of glue. I think my next Amazon order is going to have like a bulk order of glue in it. Just because I keep using it up like mad, so it's like, I guess the more often I'm down here doing projects, the more glue I use, right? Okay. Try and flatten that out. Get it on there. Okay, now these ones that are plastic, I thought lent themselves. My dryer, guys. We get serenaded by my dryer a lot down here. I thought these lent themselves really well to soft fabric covers. So I am going to, I don't know if I want to fold that in. This is thin. This is like a sheet. Probably this material for the other cover, this is more of an it's thicker. It's more of an upholstery fabric. And on that one, I may cut it. But for this one, just for ease of we're just going to glue this corner over. And I went too far with the glue. That's okay. And I suppose I could put a little bit under here. And a little bit under here. Just to glue those down. All right, let's do this corner. it's going to go up like that. So we only need to go I really like the idea of just having stuff like this ready. I've been watching videos where several people just pre-make covers and have them, and then they'll get them out and they'll decorate them according to what kind of journal they're making. They'll pick one that goes with what they're doing, and they will. Is that heavy enough to hold that down? And they will, just decorate it up according to whatever journal they happen to be making, which I think is a really neat idea, just to have all this stuff pre-made. I'm wondering if I should have cut that off, because when I go to cover this with paper, there's going to be a lump or whatever where this seam is. I know I just said I'm trying to save time with cutting, but I want to cut this. I didn't think about it. I was like, oh, it'll get covered up. It's no big deal. Can you guys, am I cutting off camera? There's a seam. This was a pillowcase. And this is the seam at the bottom of the pillowcase where the pillowcase was being held together. So like the closed end. So we're going to take that off, and then I'm going to take off as much of this as I can. There will be one little piece right there that I already glued down that we'll just have to, I'll just have to mess with or cover with something when I'm decorating. So yeah, I was thinking about that. The inside of this is probably going to get covered with paper. And I think that that edge will cause a problem. Okay, so we're going to put this on here like this. It's got to come over to about, so this is my corner. Goes down that way and across this way. So yeah, the idea of doing, and then you have all these covers, and then you make, if you have toppers, I know a lot of people make toppers, and I want to sit and do that at some point. If you sit and make toppers, then you can just pick a topper and a cover and you're set, right? So I just decided, you know what? And I have a pile. Guys, I have been saving packaging. All those Amazon hauls you guys saw me do on my channel and stuff like that. I have been saving every piece of packaging that comes into the house. And even when other people, like my kids or my husband, order something from Amazon, I'm like, I want the packaging. They just look at me weird. They look at me funny. They're like, seriously? I'm like, yeah, I want the packaging. Okay, now we're going to fold these corners over, and I'm going to try my best to glue that down really well. Again, it will get sewn, so this is like a... All right, and then you just fold it over, pull it tight, as tight as you can, without, you know, completely deforming your cover. And it's puffy here. I mean, I can put some glue under here. Again, I'm going to be covering the inside. The inside of the cover will get covered. So any of this, you know, any of these folds and things like that are going to end up under stuff. All right, let's do a little turn here. This might make it a little bit easier. Okay, and we fold this one up. This one's pretty straight. You know what I've been noticing, guys? And maybe it's just me. I can't even tear fabric straight. I mean, like when I tear down fabric, I pick it up and I look at it and I'm like, that's not straight. It's wider at that end than it is at the other end. I'm not really sure how I'm doing that. Because I kind of figured if it was tearing along a thread row, Oh, I didn't do that good. It's okay, like I said, that's getting covered. Okay, now we're going to turn and do the ends. I don't guess this is any different than doing the sides. It's just that this is going across the spine. So you just have to make sure that you're... And you can see this has really wide corners. So, you know, you just have to do whatever it is that you want to do to make that. The fact that it's all the same cloth and the cover gets covered is good, but that's the nature of this what you call these plastic covers. They're not perfect. We'll just say that. I'm gonna go right along here. I'm getting strings, guys. And they're following me. Can you see that? It's following me. Okay, I'm gonna lay it in the spine. All along here. The other thing I'm thinking is when I was working on my sunflower journals, I discovered I really like, you know, something peeking out along the edge. So when I'm sewing upstairs, I may put something on there that kind of peeks out along the edge of the journal, in which case, oh, I didn't pull that very tight. At least not at the corner, I didn't. I'll flatten it all out so it's... This glue takes the color out of just about anything. You can see the black from the masking tape coming up through the sheet, through the fabric. What I like about this is so far, it doesn't look like you can see the... it is kind of thin, but it doesn't look like you can see the wording through it, which is nice because I didn't line it. I didn't think about it. Okay. Actually, just going to put this line right along here. Oh, it's probably not going to need to go all the way to there. I'm going to go right in here and right in here. And to do the next cover, I'm probably going to need another bottle of glue. This is ridiculous, guys. I end up going to the store for glue in the middle of my crafting section. I don't know how much is left in there. I'm going to have to look. I did put glue on the place where I usually pull it, so that was not very smart of me. Okay. And I am making a huge mess. Can you see the way the black from the masking tape is coming through? This, whatever's in this glue. Yeah. Takes the color right out of masking tape. Okay, and there we have the beginnings or the base of a soft-sided cover from packaging. And listen, isn't that cool? So then all we'll have to do, I'll have to sew around it. And the question is, then again, you're always looking for what you want to hide and what you don't mind seeing. So if I wanted to, I could go ahead and glue the paper down. But if I'm going to put lace in here, I might want to put the lace on first and then glue the paper over it. So there's all kinds of things you consider. And let's go ahead. While this one sits over here and dries, I don't want to run my sewing machine through wet glue. We'll put that one to the back and we'll look at this one. So this was the other one I wanted to do. And it's pretty much going to be done the same way. I have another piece of fabric here. And I said for this one I was going to cut the corners. So let me look at what I should do is cut the fabric. I don't need this much, right? I feel like I should cut the fabric. Just going to cut it right up along here. Okay. All right, I'm experimenting with corners, guys, because this, well, the other thing is this packaging is really not, there's nothing even about it. So you're kind of working with something that isn't like a nice even piece of paper or a nice even piece of cardstock or something like that, that you would normally be able to guess your corners of. This isn't like that. So yeah, you kind of have to, I think I'm going to try this method. We're going to glue, I keep pushing on it. I need enough to do this top part. Okay, we're going to glue all the way across here. And I'm going to end at the envelope. I'm not going to glue the fabric to itself because I'm going to cut that piece out. Or at an angle or whatever. So let me get the bottom piece down to show you what I mean. So yeah, so anyway, these are they're very irregular as far as, I said I was going to hide that, but it's like really chunky. I'm not cutting through it with those scissors either. Not go all wonky on me yet. Okay, now before I cut anything, I want to get the other side. I want to get the other end glued. So I just started pulling fabric out of my bin and looking at it and going, oh, this would make a neat cover, like a background on a cover, or like a patterned cover, like, you know, the Reader's Digest books, where they have a pattern and then some sort of book cloth or book tape or something or around the spine that makes them so it covers up the edge, and then you see the pattern on the cover. So either way you wanted to do that, but so I was looking for fabrics that I thought would lend themselves to that sort of, I'm just trying to take some of the bulk out of here. So we're going to take this corner out. Excuse my arm, guys. Excuse my arm again. If it's in the camera, I apologize. I'm kind of down. You know, be easier to just turn it. Okay, so I'm just taking all of these corners off. And then when I fold this up, you do like this. And you get a corner. And I did that off camera, so we'll do it on the other one, because I have to do the other one. So you fold up your corner like this, and then you just take it off at an angle, and it covers everything. Your corner gets covered. Now I do have a little nip of fabric there, but I can tuck that in and fold if I want. I don't know if... All right, let's glue. So we're going to right below, going right along the edge, and right below the go along this bottom edge just in case. And again, I'm kind of probably overdoing it a little bit just because, I mean, these are going to get sewn, so. Now, obviously, if your seams and stuff are going to show, although those are pretty clean. Can you see? That came out pretty clean doing it that way. The only drawback is that little piece that you kind of have to tuck in. Otherwise, you have a unfinished spot at the corner. So again, we would do it like this. And there's a little spot right there that probably needs tucked. But I fold it up and then I cut it on a diagonal like this. And same with the other end. Fold it up. I don't want to turn it that way. Fold it up and cut it on a diagonal. And there we go. Take these out of the way and glue this last edge, and we have this one covered. So it goes from... I really am trying to be more conscious of where I am on my mat. I know that I've been really bad about that. Also, I don't know if you can see from what I'm doing, probably not from top down, but this is the open end of the envelope. So, I mean, I suppose you could run a piece of glue there if you wanted to. I don't think it's necessary because you're about to flip this piece of fabric up and cover the open end anyway. So I'm not sure that it really makes a difference. It's really not. Okay. And there we have another, see, and that one is also, now this one I will admit, did I glue any of the, I didn't glue it to, this one was just, I didn't even think about it, guys. Were you guys paying more attention than I was? Because basically what we did with this one, there's no glue out here between this fabric and that. So this is not glued to the envelope out here in the back. We just basically laid it on there and started pulling. Or, well, I laid it on there and started pulling. So it's not It's not glued out here, but that's okay. It'll still hold based on this. It's just that you might get a little bit of gapping and stuff because it's not glued along here. And when I run it through the sewing machine, if I can tell where the spine is, maybe I'll go down that. Maybe I won't. I don't know. We'll see. Who knows? But there's another one we're going to set off to dry because I don't want to run it through my sewing machine like that. All right, and then the last one that I wanted to show you is this one. This one is... Oh, guys, you might have to give me a second. Okay, I'm back. Sorry, it was driving me crazy, guys. There's probably a secret I don't know. Okay, so for this one, what I was going to do, remember we were talking about those Reader's Digest books that have the like book tape or whatever on the back, book cloth stuff. So what I was thinking was I was going to put, because remember I said that cover is 6.5. 6.5 inches wide, right? So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring it out so that I have some fold over. All the way around. I want to be able to fold this over. You know what I might do, guys? I might score it. Just to see if that'll help. So we're looking for good ways to cover some of this stuff. This is making books from packaging, and we're finding ways to cover, make it work. So if I give about 1.25 inches overhang, and then it's 3 inches bigger than the top, so we're going to go 1.5 inches at this end and 1.5 inches at this end. I'm going to put this down here until we need to do the other cover. Well, actually, you know what? That's just silly of me, isn't it? Let's just do the other cover. Okay, so we said 1.25 inches. And then we turn it and we get 1.5 inches this way. And this is only because I've got a 9-inch cover and I've got a 12-inch piece of paper. So 1.5 inches top and bottom to fold over. Now we can put the scoreboard back and I don't need it. Okay, now the other thing you have the option of doing here, of course, is cutting along this at a diagonal and allowing for it to, although my corner should fit right there. Yeah, this is going to fit like that. So you have to decide what you want to do with your corner. But my thought would again be to cut along here. Giving these a fold already, just to get them ready. Now I'm going to do this so that this black edge is at the back. Not that it matters. It's going to be on the inside and covered up anyway, so it doesn't actually matter. But we're going to put glue all on the inside of this, right? All on the inside of where we've scored to put our book. And again, this can get stitching just like the cloth ones do. Obviously, we stitch through paper and cards and things all the time. So, and then you can make whatever kind of spine cover you think would go nice with this paper. right? Now I'm going to put some glue on. I'm getting to that point where I need to stop turning my glue bottle down. And we're going to put some glue on this fold. Things are sticking to my fingers still. All along the edge. And I'm going to fold it over the edge of the page. I mean the edge of the cover. Now, wherever there's wrinkles or whatever, it wants to pull away, so I just kind of make sure it's down really good. And then you know what we're going to do? We're going to cut this off like we did with the fabric. I'm going to cut it off. Like that. Okay, and then it folds over the thing. So we're going to do same on this side. It's going to be up from this direction. I'm just kind of eyeballing corner to corner. I'm not making any measurements here or anything. I'm not. I'm just kind of eyeballing corner to corner. So I have those two pieces off of there, and then we're going to glue these down. So, and then our flaps will be down, and the back cover will be covered. So this is how I cover the brown paper. Amazon packaging, this stuff here lends itself a lot easier to being covered by cardstock or, you know, like that. So if you're looking to cover a book in paper or cardstock, these are much easier to cover than the, now I do have some of the, what do you call it? The bubble wrap ones, you know, the white packaging from Amazon that's got Prime stamped all over it and it's bubble wrap. That I have some where I couldn't get it to even out, like glue it shut and even out the sides well enough. So what I ended up doing was cutting it open and then cutting the halves apart. So it's much thinner. That you could probably cover with, you know, cardstock or whatever, no problem. Okay, and then there's the, oh, it's got little corners. And then, you know, you can see a little bit of white there. I'll nip it and see. And of course, this is much easier to put, in my opinion, this is much easier to put book corners on. I mean, you can probably get them on fabric, obviously. I just, it seems like it would be easier to put them on. I don't know what I'm doing. Okay, so we're going to fold. This made it a little easier for me to see where to put all my glue in the, for the first part. Okay, so we're going to go right in here again. I actually have some fabric from the accordion book down here that would probably make good, at least a good base for a spine. I don't know. This book kind of lends itself to you doing, because it's going to need a wide, spine, because I took about 1.25 inches. So I dropped it down to 5.5 inches, 5.25 inches, only covered 5.25 inches of 6.5 inches. So there's lots of space back here. See how wide that is? That's usually the width of a spine on its own. So we're going to have 2 of those. So you're going to need a nice wide piece of fabric. So you could do like a fabric collage kind of a spine. Now this, like I said, this is open, but I'm getting ready to cover it. So I'm not necessarily thinking that it needs glued shut, because that'll glue it shut effectively. So we're going to do this, and then we're going to cut our corners the same way we did before. And once again, I have glue on my fingers. Actually, it's just all still there from before. I got to try and use my rags more. My habit is just to push stuff down, and then when it gets all over my fingers, I just deal with it. I really, really, really need to stop, because it drives me crazy. Okay, now, this folds. Oh, I didn't cut it free, guys. Now I gotta cut it free. I forgot that step. Okay, so we cut that free. And then when I fold this over, we're gonna cut to the corner on a diagonal. Corner to corner. Just like that. I kind of open it and finish it off. Well, I didn't go corner to corner on that one, but it's going to be okay. I kind of missed, but it'll work. It'll close it and everything will be fine. Also, the other thing you'll notice is in this one, I did not put in any kind of spine. I left this one, I guess, soft spine. There's no, I didn't put a chipboard piece through the middle to give it any sort of structure. So I'm just relying on the fact that I know what the measurement is to find my middle. And of course I creased it. I mean, I can see a crease where I creased it, but uh-oh, apparently I went right up to my score mark because that's not behaving. There we go. Just readjust. We craft. No panicking involved. Just adjust a little bit and everything's fine. Okay, so this was a couple of different kinds of packaging, 2 covered in fabric, and the 2 with fabric have hard spines. And then 1 covered in cardboard, but this one has a soft spine. So as you can see, we're going to need, let's measure it just to see what we've got that we have to work with. I would say you're going to need to make, just so that it overlaps a little bit, if I move this up here like this, just so that it overlaps your cardstock a little bit, I would say that a 4-inch spine cover would give you a 1/4 inch overlap on your, that makes sense? If you want it to overlap more than that, of course, you would just make your spine wider. You know, maybe 4.5 inches, like that. And then you get a 1/2 inch overlap on either side. I had this, I have all kinds of fabric down here. We can audition a few. So there's this, which I think would be really pretty as the base of the spine. That goes nice, right? I also have several that I was working with for some other things down here. You could do something like that. You could even use the wrong side of it. I think this would be a little, oh, it's too short anyway. So say, I think that would be a little much. I also have yellow. And again, you could use the right side or the wrong side. You know what this might also be good for is like I like to do the strips that go across, that go through to tie the journal closed. This is too short. So I wouldn't be able to use that. But a piece from this would work to go all the way through from one side to the other. Okay, so here we go. We're going to rip it. Maybe. I'm going to cut that end. I'm going to cut this end off. Something else I've discovered, by the way, guys, if you like frayed ends on your fabric, but you have a cut end that you're working with, if you take your pokey tool, and maybe some of you already know this, if you take your pokey tool and you just pull, you can pull a couple of the threads out and you get your frayed end. So never fear if you have to cut something and you didn't get to tear it, or it won't tear. I actually had some upholstery I was using for another project that it seems like the upholstery is the threads in the fabric, instead of running crisscrossed up and down, were diagonal to the panels of the fabric. So it didn't tear. But it did fray. I just had to go down and I had to like scrub it all the way down the edge with the pokey tool. Okay, now my idea for these is always to take this and go right through the middle here. I always like to fold it in half. Put glue in the crease. I try to find about the middle. 1, 2, 3, 4.5. So it's right about there. And then we put, see, that's the other thing that gets me in trouble. I'm going to put a box of glue on either side of this. And I'm going to take this and I'm going to go like this and then open it up and stick it right there like that. And then, of course, if you want, you can go all the way out as far as you want with the glue to stick it to the inside of your... Of course, this is going to get sandwiched. So, I mean, if you don't want to glue it all the way out, you don't really have to. I mean, whatever you're sandwiching in between will most likely hold it. But, you know, I'm all about reinforcement. So, yeah, I'm good with it. So I do that, and then that's my tie for the book. And if that's too long, because obviously this book, it doesn't need to be that long. If I tie it and I decide that's too much, just cut some off. I'd rather have too much and have to cut off than have too little and get it glued down and then not be able to tie it shut. Does that make sense? So that is the tie for that one. Now, question is, could we find ties for these? I don't know that I have fabric down here that I could use as ties for these. Unless I wanted to use the same fabric. I don't want to use the green fabric. So I really like the torn fabric ties. That's one of my favorite tie closures. Now, you could use anything sturdy that would go all the way across, right? I actually want to open up my... So if you wanted to... I'm in my ribbon drawer, guys. I might not be back for a while. I got all organized and put all my ribbon in a drawer, and now it's a mess. Like a serious mess. But the idea would be you could get a piece of ribbon that you like. Now, of course, if you do this with ribbon and it already has, like I have, for example, this, life is better at the shore. Obviously, that's going to be some sort of beach or lake or something on the water. Your journal will have a theme if you do something like that. You could do a lace tie. I've seen people do lace ties. I mean, I assume this wouldn't tear or break. You know me, guys. My biggest worry is something breaking. Like I put it in here and use it as a tie and it falls apart. But I really like this with this fabric, actually. So now that I've pulled it out here, we're going to give it a shot. All right, we're going to make it, that should be wide enough, yeah? And this really isn't something that you can, I mean, it's lace. You can glue it down, obviously. But it's definitely not got a lot of solid spots to glue. See if I line that up. I did not. That's okay. I'm just trying to go along this lace has a row of 3 little diagonal flowers in it, and it's about the most solid thing on there. So if I can get it tacked down with that. See, and that's, I like that. I didn't get it centered. That's okay. I'll just trim it or something. But I think that will make a really cute tie on here. I'm upset. I wanted both ends to be that long. Okay, anyway. So that's a good tie for that one. And then this one. Now this one, if I really wanted to, I mean, I could go beach or shore with this one. What do I got? Okay, I don't see anything down there for this one. Okay, guys. So this was my thought on covering these using packaging. So this is 3 different packagings. You can see how they all come out differently. I think they're going to be a lot of fun. I'm going to continue to mess with these. Maybe I'll bring you back and we'll do the inside paper covers. I'll find a tie closure for this one and we'll get these covers finished. I'm not going to put anything in them. I'm just covering journals, guys. So if you want to join me, come on back and we'll do some more. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.